Hello, and welcome back to WaltWorld for episode 3 of the YouTube Model Builders Big Build Contest. This is our final entry. Made it in just before the deadline. Thank you so much for joining me for this contest, and I really appreciate your watching and your comments. So as we look over the build here, of course you're never really done. Every time I look at it, I always think of other things to add. But as I'm just going to highlight here, I think the window coverings turned out pretty well. They showed a little bit of variability. Some of the drapes are open and some of them are closed. I think the entry modification with that double doors turned out nice, as well as the covered entry. That just kind of makes the entry a little more grand. As we look at the north side of the building here, just kind of some weathered brick. This is really going to not be seen on my layout because it'll be next to another building, but the weathering on the brick turned out pretty well. And then as you can see on the back here, I think that light hanging over the back door turned out pretty nice, a little amber light. And I think those Walther fire escapes turned out pretty well. They're lightly weathered. I may want to add a little more rust here, a little bit here and there. And the downspouts, I think, add a nice feature to the back of the building, just to give it some interesting points of interest to look at. The weathering and the little black wash here and there. The back side, of course, is more next to the train spur and industrial area, so it's going to be a little more weathered. Then we look at the south side of the building here, and has an entrance, so slightly recessed. Also highlight here some of the window modifications I made, just adding that little extra styrene just to kind of give that illusion that the windows are partially open or closed, and putting glass halfway on and that type of thing, just to again create that kind of sense of variability that there's people living in there. Of course, you can see my wires there on the inside. Eventually I'm going to be building an interior to this building, since you have such large windows there on the first floor, and we'll create some scenes and some interior lighting, but didn't have time to do that for the contest. The roof, I think, details, especially since you look down on these buildings, you tend to look at this stuff, but having that kind of detail helps. I think the elevator shaft there is a nice feature, and the Walther's tank for the fire suppression system and things like that. I think just and the piping and the vents gives it just some points of interest. So overall, I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. So as the sun starts to set, the lights come on. Eventually we'll have more lights when we finish that interior scene. Just going to give you one last view here of the close-up view of the building. The lit sign there turned out well. Drover's Hotel and Bar. So come on in and join me at the bar for a drink.
Hey, I want to thank you for joining me for this YouTube Model Builders Big Build Contest. And I appreciate you watching, appreciate your subscription and your comments. This was a lot of fun. This was a fun little kit to build. Appreciate any feedback that you have. Also like to thank my crew. Well, they never did say anything in the rules about using clones, so hey, whatever works. Right? That's right. And cut. That's a wrap.